Psalm 27 contains a specific sequence, "When my father and my mother forsake me." Most people read that as poetry, or perhaps a worst-case scenario. I lived it as a structural reality. My father gave me up when I was 2. My mother was absent throughout my childhood and rejected me entirely later in life, calling me crazy and saying she hated me. There is an unseen layer of development that goes missing when you grow up without emotional safety or a consistent presence. Labeling that experience a rough childhood misses the true nature of the deficit. When you lack a safe place to land, your reference point for what care is supposed to feel like disappears. When people look at relationships in Scripture, like the reference for Mary or the way families speak to each other, they usually see something beautiful. To me, those relationships feel alien. I understand the words on the page, but the experience itself is unfamiliar. You cannot instinctively grasp emotional safety if the template for it was never installed during your development. Growing up suspended over that void has a direct physiological consequence. Your nervous system explicitly trains itself to anticipate instability and wires itself to expect negativity. In my environment, there was exactly one anomaly: my grandmother. Her unconditional love acted as a single temporary support beam holding up a collapsing roof. She provided the proof that real love existed, that I wasn't imagining the need for it, and that something in the world remained properly aligned. But a single proof of concept can only keep a person tethered to reality for so long. One temporary support beam cannot hold up an unanchored structure forever. At 17, I reached the conclusion that I should end my life. This wasn't a dramatic impulse. It was the logical result of a structural system that had finally reached its breaking point. My collapse was interrupted by a single realization: I have more for you. That thought shifted my trajectory, forcing a pivot from total failure toward the possibility of survival. God became my functional, literal anchor, a place that didn't contradict itself when my nervous system was overwhelmed. Attaching to an absolute, non-contradictory baseline provided the only stable path when every other relational structure had failed. The second half of Psalm 27, "Then the Lord will take me up," describes structural replacement. It is inserting a completely new foundation where one never existed. Most learn identity and safety automatically through parents. I had to build those elements manually, piece by piece. Manual construction is slow and prone to systemic errors. These mistakes happen because of the friction between new beliefs and a nervous system that is still physically hardwired for instability. Your mind adopts a new truth, but your body still braces for impact. Healing is a deliberate, painfully slow architectural reconstruction of the mind. The core challenge of this process is distinct from the pain of abandonment itself. Trauma has a natural gravity. People tend to reproduce the negativity they receive unless they find a way to forcefully interrupt that trajectory. Breaking the cycle of generational trauma requires that intentional interruption of inherited pain. I am still learning how to navigate other people. I am naturally introverted, I process emotions intensely, and standard social interactions remain heavy and taxing. This ongoing heaviness is the operating cost of running a custom-built, deeper emotional system, one built manually rather than inherited. Moving from being forsaken to being taken up represents the ultimate reroute. Starting life without a foundation is a brutal reality, but the story doesn't end there. With intentional structural replacement, you can alter your trajectory.